You're listening to the best Phillies sports show in the Northeast on Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another Philly sports show with my main man next to me, El Parcero Philly,
Yeah.
and of course
What's going
me,
on?
the Philly sports guy. What's going on, everybody? Lots of stuff to talk about. Starting off, and as you could see from behind me, I would actually, if I had sound bites here, I would do the dun 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 dun, but I'm not going to go that route because this is the last night. It's over for the Flyers. The night's their last night, and we can only look towards the future while the rest of the Atlantic Division moves on into the playoffs. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Dude, listen, it's kind of I don't know how to feel. It's definitely sucks. Like, I didn't expect to be here in this spot and not look forward to playoffs. Like, I thought we would be gearing up for a playoff run, but the season went in the direction it did. It happened. You can't dwell on it. But now, as Flyers fans, we're gonna tell you tonight, maybe you should be a little more optimistic about this team going forward in the future. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't want to be here in the spot here. It sucks because, dude, I love Flyers hockey. I love the sport. I love this fan base. I love to see you dressed up as the Flyers Philly sports guy, right? But no, this season was unexcusable. It really was. But there's stuff to look forward to here today, man, and we'll definitely get to it. We got a lot to get to with a lot of our Philly sports here today.
Yeah, I wanted to start with the Flyers because obviously this is going to be the last time we're talking about them. Tonight is their last game tonight against, I believe it's the Devils.
The New Jersey Devils.
And it definitely did not end the way I wanted it to. I felt that the Flyers were probably a chance to be a cup contender this year.
Mm-hmm.
And, it seems that, and I'm going to address this maybe with every team a little bit tonight. It seems that when there is the most riding on the season, when we have the most expectations, that Philadelphia teams seem to come up a little small. And, I'm trying to think of the last time there was like tremendous expectations on a team that the team was able to follow through on. And I think even when you think back in 2009, where they made it back to the World Series and lost to the Yankees. And then in 2010, they were expected to go back to the World Series, and they wind up losing in 5 to the Cardinals, who eventually do win the World Series. And I think of Eagles teams that should have, could have, would have, and didn't. It doesn't seem that when we expect the most of our teams, they show up the least.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. To me, I definitely do think it does depend. Yeah, but this does happen more than once in Philadelphia. I mean, even look at the Dream Team. Like, that was supposed to be a team that was supposed to go to the playoffs, go to the Super Bowl. Even the year after that, Andy's last year did not think we were going to go 4-12, but it was evident that Andy's time kind of ran its course in Philadelphia. But listen, I think to your point, the Philly sports guy is. We all know, we're all Philly sports fans, it is hard to play in the city. It's not like playing in most cities. You can say what you want, but the expectations here are always high. Even for a team that is supposed to be bad, quote unquote, for whatever team that is, we expect them to actually be average. So the pressure here is a lot. It's up to you to live up to that hype. I mean, we've had teams like the 04 Eagles to me is like that perfect example. They kind of lived up to the expectations. They made it to that Super Bowl. That team went through it and they dealt with it. But it's tough, man. It's tough to kind of go through your motions, and then you have to deal with what the city is. You have to have a thick skin, and you got to be strong up here in order to survive in this city. But man, this Flyers team, it's unexcusable. It really is unexcusable. We talk about the issues with this team. Yes, defense was terrible. And no, Matt Niskanen should not be the real reason why we were this freaking bad this year. Yeah, maybe we missed his veteran leadership. but it was much more than Matt Niskanen. The offense was lost at times as well. Carter Hart did take a little regression this year. He's a young goalie who was going through some turmoil there. I think he's going to be fine. I don't think we should be worrying about him. But it was just a lot of things. We talked about it off air, man. This was a weird year for every league. It was shortened, not a lot of practice time. That hurts as well. So, yeah, man, it's a lot of things that go with that. But, yeah, the Flyers definitely did not live up to expectations whatsoever.
And they weren't the only team in the NHL to do so. And, a team that had a very similar path was the Dallas Stars. And they made it to the Cup last year and are also not going to make the playoffs. And again, got struck with the COVID bug early and just never was able to recover from that. And I think that that's really what it came down to. We remember we started off really strong. And you take out Boston out of our mix, and we were 10-2-2.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately losing 5 to Boston, and made that 10-7. Well, I guess it was 10-5-4. But even then, it's like, so when you only played out of the 20 games that you played, that we were doing pretty well, to not make the playoffs is a little disheartening.
Right.
There's blame to go all over the place. I mean, first off, the one person I can't blame is Niskanen, because he didn't do anything wrong other than retire. So, I mean, it's not like the big deal. Like, okay, Niskanen was here. He was a turnover machine in the playoffs the year before. So I wasn't the worst thing in the world to see him disappear. And he knew it was time. We knew what he did wrong. And he was like, I think that this game has passed me by. I mean, what is it that veterans say? They usually stay, they stay till they know that they're done, and then they stay for another 2 more years.
Right. I don't like to comment on things that I'm not completely familiar with the situation, but I will say I wonder if Niskanen during that off season was open and clear with the Flyers, like, hey guys, like season's end, right? You lose to the Islanders, like, hey guys, not sure if I'm going to come back next year. I'm not feeling it. That series against the Islanders really did a lot to me. Might not be feeling it. I really wonder if those conversations were happening, because to think that you replace Niskanen with Gustafsson, come on, seriously?
Wow, that he didn't replace with Gustafsson. I mean, that was.
But if
they should have done better, and they didn't. And if Gustafsson was the best of the bad bunch, then bad, man, that was horrible. That was really ridiculously horrible.
That's my point. Like, I don't know what went down, but I would hope that Niskanen, the professional he is, was kind of open and clear with the Flyers after the season was over, kind of where his head was at, because they really didn't prepare for Niskanen's retirement whatsoever. So I really don't want to believe that Niskanen wasn't open with the Flyers, but it just feels weird that they didn't find his replacement right away. But it is what it is. They went through the season. They trotted out Gus. They tried Ghost. How many times did we see Ghost out there? Nate Prosser. Oh my God! I hope I never see him back there again, man.
You may never see him
I hope
back
not,
there again.
Man. Oh my God!
I mean, it was. I understand that it was horrible. I mean, the defense was just straight out bad. And ultimately, it was just, you wondered what, like, the team looked old. The old people looked old. The young people looked inexperienced. The defense looked bad. The special teams was horrible. And then the goalie became human. And that's what all happened. You put that all together and you have a season like we did this season, where we just didn't live up to our expectations. And what happens now? What happens now? Like, I am, as funny as this sounds, I am super excited for Seattle to start picking through some of our roster. I am hoping that they take Voracek in the worst way. I'm hoping that they do. I don't think that they will. I think that they're smarter than that, actually. I think that we're going to be stuck with Voracek for another 3 years. Unless we're able to trade him because one of these teams has to make the salary cap. They have to, they have to spend a certain amount of money, and Voracek would be the answer to that.
Right,
But
right. So just real quick, I'm watching. I have the Flyers game on here right now. I'm doing a little pregame. Just a quick shout out. Brian Elliott's playing his 500th game tonight in the NHL. Elliott might be playing his last game as a Flyer. We'll see what happens there. But still, I mean, much respect to the Moose, man. 500 games in this league is nothing to just be like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, nah, this is a pretty big deal at that position. So shouts to the Moose. But that to the goaltending, there's some question marks. What I want to ask you, where are you at with Carter here?
Carter's the future. Yeah,
Right.
there's no doubt in my mind.
I agree.
That every goalie goes through this little regression, and ultimately it came this year. And you know what? Maybe it's best that it did come this year. With the midst of everything else, he looked human. And I'm okay with him looking human this year because the rest of the team looked just awful.
Right.
So human actually made the team look better in some cases. He gave up some bad goals. I understand. You know what I mean? It's frustrating when you see that. I'm sure there's more than a couple he wanted to get back. But he is going to be the goalie of the future. And I believe the Flyers have learned their lesson from getting rid of goalies a little too soon.
Right.
So
the other question is, what do we do behind him? Like, do we re-sign Elliott? Do we go somewhere else? What would you like to see as the backup situation here for Carter?
I mean, Elliott is playing his 500th game. He is a serviceable backup. If he wants to play, he could play. Lions, Eddie's saying Lion. No, I'm not a Lion fan. I never was a Lion fan. I don't need to see him up here. I don't think that he deserves to be up here. He's not. He's definitely not an NHL goalie. He's an AHL lifer. I know they have another goalie down there who's also really young.
It's a Russian kid, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing him come up here. The problem with that is that you start to have a competition, which may not necessarily be a bad thing, and that may be used for trade bait later. That becomes a weird setup on how do you do that? You can't do a 1 and 1A. So I'm not exactly sure. My thought is that Carter Hart is going to be the future moving forward, and at least for one more season, I need to see it like that and see how the defense prepares him. I want to see him in about 55 to 60 games, and then realistically, the other 25 games can be done by just about anybody.
Right. I personally, when it comes to that position, would like to see them maybe go with someone who has experience. I want someone who's played in this league already. Maybe someone who maybe a little bit more of a developmental project. Someone cheap. You come in here. You tell him right off the bat. Listen, we have Carter Hart. He's our future. We're investing everything into him. But we see something in you. You can be a backup here, and best case scenario, you get pushed on to another team.
I don't want any projects. No, projects are bad. Projects are bad in the goalie position, especially when you have a starting goaltender. You want a veteran backup. I believe Quick is this is the last year of his contract. And I'm sure that he's going to get picked up by one of these other teams. So maybe, because I think his price tag might be a little too much. But there are a number of different goaltenders out there that are aged goaltenders that would do really well. If not else, then you stay with Elliott. You know what I mean? the hard part is I just don't know what's going on in the rest of the league this year in comparison to the way I would normally, because it's like I feel like I've been force fed the Atlantic Division the entire time, and it's hard to watch any other teams because now that they're starting to show them on TV, you're so far behind. It's like, oh, you hear, but you don't even really see a lot of the clips. ESPN didn't really show nothing about hockey ever.
Oh, they
They're
better
too
now.
well, yeah, of course they're going to now, but it's all going to be on ESPN
The main one.
Plus or whatever.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because they bought the contract for the NHL now.
Are you
So
serious? Dude,
yeah,
I better see primetime games on ESPN. Like,
you ain't going to. You're not going to.
ridiculous, man.
I mean, it's going to be like on that ESPN Plus, I think, is what it's called.
Yeah.
So, but it's all a matter of money. You know what I mean? And ultimately, it's still a way because NBC is not going to be showing any games next year.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
and they were talking about showing hockey games on TNT. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, you're seeing too. A lot of these leagues are moving towards the streaming stuff, like the NHL, the NFL did their deal with Amazon. It's all about the streaming now. So I'm sure the NHL is going to.
the Phillies played on Cozy.
Oh my god. I couldn't
On
watch that
Friday.
game. I was so mad. I was watching the Sixers and the Flyers. I wanted to watch Phillies because I forget what night that was, but no, I just
Friday
wanted to
night.
watch. Yeah. I
Friday
wanted to
night.
watch the Phils, and I just.
Because I tell you, we were 30 seconds and extra innings away from having back-to-back sweeps for the first time ever of the three majors, and would have been four. It would have been the first time ever in Philadelphia history that four teams won on the same day. There's been a 24-hour period that all four teams have won. Just once, ever, in the history of sports in Philadelphia. There's only been one time. There's been a number of times that three teams that have played have won.
Right.
And the most recent time was on Friday. The time before that was like 2004.
Right.
So it doesn't happen that frequently.
Yeah, that's true, man. So with the Flyers this offseason, I have 3 questions that I would like answered. Number one is what's going to happen to the veteran core. So I'm talking about guys like Claude. Obviously, Claude's not going to go anywhere, but Claude, Jakob, JVR, Sean, Kevin Hayes. I think I mentioned the five main vets. To me, I feel like you need to move one of them. That's just my opinion. I think you need to shake it up a little bit. I keep referencing back to the 2011-2012 offseason when they moved Richards and Carter. Something like that needs to happen, in my opinion. Number 2, what are you going to do with this defense? Okay, this defense this past season was terrible. Okay, Cam York looks good. I mean, 21 minutes in the last game. That was great. That was awesome. I don't know if Myers and Sanheim should be playing together. It was bad all year. It looked better last year, but maybe because we weren't seeing what we saw now, and there wasn't as much pressure on those two. But that's a question mark if those two can play together. So right now, I got Provy, I got Cam York, I got Sanheim, I got Myers. Igor, is he going to come up next year? The kid came out of nowhere. He was an undrafted kid from Russia. Did his thing down in the minors. He got 2 games this year. Hasn't been playing since that second or third Devils game. I forget it was. But what is this defense going to look like? The third question I have is Alain Vigneault. Now, I realize he might not be going. He might not leave. But I do have the question of whether or not he's the right man for this job. So those are my 3 questions about the Flyers this upcoming offseason. And it's an important one for Chuck Fletcher. That's one thing we can all agree on. Chuck has his hands tied this offseason.
Well, I mean, I can answer. First off, unless Seattle picks one of these guys, and I know that they're going to keep open. They're definitely going to keep open Voracek. They're probably going to keep open Giroux, although Giroux's only got 1 year left on his contract. Probably keep open JVR. So hopefully one of those guys. You can't get rid of Sean Couturier. He's going to be the next captain of this team. And, you know, everybody else, like Sean Couturier, I mean, Provy, Carter Hart, TK, barely. I barely keep TK. And I would even consider if the right trade came along for him, I'd get rid of him too. And I'm hard pressed to even think of a fifth person to keep. Because the truth of the matter is that Hayes underperformed his contract this year. He overperformed last year, underperformed this year.
Just right now.
I mean, Sanheim, the defense, the whole defense, minus Provorov. And Provorov started to mess up towards the end of the season. All of them are meh. I could care less. And we're already down 1-0.
Oh man. Well, at least it's over after tonight. That's about it.
Right.
There's plenty of time, but hey man, that's not how you want to go. Already down one. Pavel Zacha, man. Yeah, it's frustrating, man. And it's funny because so you know me when I Brigantine Beach. My girl's brother, his best friend lives on there. His buddies go there all the time. I was with them like a couple weeks ago, and it's always around this time that we talk. They're always like, "Yo, how about those Flyers?" And they always bring up the Stanley Cup drought, and it's just like every year I'm like, "Yeah, another year." In my lifetime, I've seen 2 Stanley Cup Finals. So I was born in '94, so I was alive for '97, and I was alive for 2010. But I never experienced what the older generation, the Broad Street Bully days experience. Like I wasn't there for those times, so I don't know what that's like, right? And it's just like I want my generation, the generation after me, to enjoy Flyers hockey. Please, Flyers hockey, be good again, please.
Well, I think we're still having the same problem. Comcast owns this team, and that's the problem. They made it a corporate entity, and Chuck Fletcher stinks straight out. The guy who's still calling most of the shots is Paul Holmgren, and he does not know how to win. He does not know how to win. He's never been able to win it. And never been able to win a championship on any level in any division, not in the WHA, not in the NHL as a player, not in the NHL as a coach, not in the NHL as an assistant GM, not in the NHL as a general manager, not as an NHL as a president. This guy does not know how to win. And all he's done is mess up this franchise. I am tired of Paul Holmgren. Until this team gets rid of him 100%. Unfortunately, and I don't wish this to anybody, but unfortunately, I'm sure he's going to be here until he is 6 feet under. So I wish that he would just retire and go off into the sunset, and that's it. You know what I mean? And then get rid of Fletcher, get somebody in here who knows knows hockey well. Like I'm tired. Like Lou Lamoriello went from the Devils, went somewhere else, and now they're doing great. You know what I mean? You had Steve Yzerman. He went to Tampa Bay, got them ready for a cup. Actually, they wound up winning the cup this year. He's going to Detroit. He's revamping that whole team. Detroit's going to win a cup faster than we are. And that says something because you want to know why? Because that guy, he was a number 19, mind you. And I tell you, I'm not a big fan of the Detroit Red Wings. Hockey Town was always like to me because I'm like, why is that Hockey Town? But that guy knew how to play. He knew how to be a captain of a team, and they wound up winning that Stanley Cup. It was the one caveat that I took out of that was that I was always a big fan of Steve Yzerman. First off, he wore my number 19. You know what I mean? And he was just always he was just the quintessential player. I wish that we had somebody like him on the Flyers now, because I think that the quiet captain right now bothers me. I think that you need somebody who can set this team right, who can actually start to force issues to happen. And we don't have that. Bobby Clark, although he was quiet in the media, was very loud and boisterous in the locker rooms. And that made things a big deal. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he was able to run that team and then they had the right coach in place. Ed Sheeran, Ed Sheeran was Fred Sheeran. I mean, it was an amazing coach. And he was like a Vince Lombardi type.
Yeah.
He is very kind of soft spoken, but spoke in those manner. Like he had those Sheroisms. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
Christ. You still hear about it. Everything. One of the things he says, "Win today and walk together forever." And that's literally, we're still watching them walk because that was the last time anybody walked in hockey for Flyers. So it's time. It's definitely time. And the problem is that as long as Comcast is owning this team, it's going to be. That's what I think.
Yeah. So, reason why I'm telling everyone to be optimistic is because this young core that's in the pipeline right now is pretty darn good. Cam York and Wade Allison are here right now. Wade Allison looks like he belongs, and Cam looks like he can hold his own as well. So those two guys are already giving you some promise there. You still got Tyson Forrester. You got Bobby Brink. Zay Wisdom's going to take him some time, but I'm really excited about him. I mentioned Igor Zamula, the defender, as well. Philly sports guy, we forgot about Morgan Frost. Unfortunately, he got hit by the injury bug this year, but dude, he was supposed to be what Joel Farabee kind of was half of this season. The future is bright for this Flyers team. You make a couple good moves, you sign a good free agent, and you're talking about you're competing again next year. But you gotta do the right moves. We didn't talk about the assistants. I do think the assistants definitely need to go. I think you need to reshake that up with if you're going to keep Vigneault here. But yeah, we'll see what this team can look like with a full off season, normal practicing, all that good stuff. So we'll see.
We will see. And let's go right on to the next one, shall we? I'm going to change up my green screen here. Let's stick with the bad news. The Phillies. I tell you, I found it very, very, very interesting. I watched that game on Saturday. And after not being able to watch the game on Friday, actually, I did watch the game on my phone where I was. And it was amazing, that they were hitting the ball and stuff like that. And then to come out of the gate in game 2 and hit the ball, do their thing, get those runs early. Nearest, man. Nearest. I'll tell you what, it was near for us. It was near for us. He was one strike away. Twice. 5 pitches, he was one strike away.
Did he blow it 3 times? Did I hear that right?
Huh?
He blew 3 times? Three times to save the game? Is that what I heard?
No. The Phillies, as a team, blew 3 saves in one game.
I see it right here.
3 saves in one game. So, Sandoval loves them high and away. Loves them high and away. Can't lay off. Let's hit it right down the middle. The look on JT Realmuto's face afterwards said it all. Excuse me. Said it all. It was just like he's like, what the hell was that pitch? Like you could just tell. It was just because he got all of it. You knew he went up there for one reason, to tie the game. He went up there to tie the game, and that was that.
Yeah, man, it's rough. Neris to me is a setup guy. I think we're gonna give Archie Bradley a chance when he gets back to get that closing job. Someone mentioned to me, like, Brandon Kinsler was a closer for the Marlins last year. Like, why don't we give him an opportunity to try to close as well? But, something about throwing Hector Neris every save. Now, he's been better this year than he was last year. We still have a lot of baseball to be played, right? So, it's like, it's literally the definition of insanity. You're doing the same things, hoping for something different. And it's just, you're just literally just not getting it, man. To me, the pitching, it's just been, I'm thinking it could be better. Flat out, I think it could be better. I mean, we can talk about Aaron Nola's performance on Sunday. He didn't look sharp. He goes like 4 or 5 innings. He allows like 6 runs or 5 runs, whatever it was. He just doesn't look sharp, and it's like, Aaron, every time you're in Atlanta, you just do not know how to pitch down there, and he doesn't seem like a guy that gets rattled either. Like, I can't explain what it is when it comes to Atlanta, man. But the thing is that this team has 3 good pitchers. Like, I think Nola is good. I think Zach Wheeler is good. I think Zach Eflin is good. But you don't have an ace, and that is a problem right now.
Right. I agree. Nola is like a number 2.
A good 2. He's a good 2.
And yeah, Wheeler's like a number 2. Eflin is a 3. You know what I mean? I feel like that he's right where he's supposed to be. And then we got Double V.
I can't even kill him right now, to be honest with you.
Every time at least he's pitching a little bit better, but every time we see the Double V, we never see a W.
Yeah, man. It's literally like that.
Imagine
if we had an ace.
Absolutely a shame.
Imagine we had Jake DeGrom here. You know? I mean, hopefully we can give him some run support.
What would probably happen is that we would give him the same amount of run support as the Mets give him. That's why he could lose 18 games in a season and still be the Cy Young winner.
Right. So let me ask you something a little controversial here. I surprisingly, you'd be happy of me. I actually decided to listen to some WIP today. I was listening to DeCamera and Richie in the midday. DeCamera brought up a very interesting point. He brought up JT's ERA, the pitcher's ERA when JT's the catcher, compared to Andrew Knapp's ERA number, the pitcher's ERA number when they pitched to him. It's significantly different here. Now,
how big?
I forgot on the top of my head. I think it was by 2 runs. I have to double check there. But I haven't heard this. This isn't the first time I've heard this. I've heard people question JT calling games as a catcher for this team. We know JT is the best hitting catcher in the league. We know he's got that cannon of an arm. I don't know how people try to steal from first to second still with JT behind the plate. I don't understand how you still do that. But JT also was a guy who, in the minors, switched from shortstop to catcher, right? So he hasn't played catcher his whole life. Now, he does everything really well. That's one thing I will question. I think we can question now. So I wanted to see what you thought of that. Maybe
put him in center field.
I did not expect you to be that quick to say. I thought you were going to have a pushback a little bit.
I don't care. I don't care where he does. I don't care where he plays. Obviously, his bat is great. He's got a great arm, so why not try him out in center field? What else could go wrong? You know what I mean? I mean, center field stinks. I mean, the fact that whole position is batting 100,
Odubel hit a homer Friday, a 3-run shot.
Yeah, that's great. And it made it from 9 to 12. So, again, a no-need home run, I don't know. I wouldn't mind trying him out somewhere else. I just, here you go. Ed's got the answer here. Trade Reese and move JT to first.
I'm not ready to give up on Reese. I know people have been restless with Reese lately. I do see Reese being a lot more aggressive this year. He doesn't seem scared at the plate like he did last year. Last year, I felt like he was always trying to go for the walk. And even the year before with Gabe Kapler, I always felt like he was just trying to go for a walk. Dude, you got a big arm or a big swing. Just hit the ball. Don't stress it. You don't have to hit a homer every single time too, but be aggressive up at the plate. And I felt like he's done that. I'm gonna wait till things start getting a little warmer, right? I mean, you guys remember? I'm not comparing Reese to Ryan Howard, but we all remember when it started getting warmer. Ryan started getting warmer with the bat as well. So we'll see how Reese is come summertime here. But listen, I'm there with you. I am not opposed to trying JT to a different spot. I really am not. So I feel like because of JT's contract and Joe with his relationship with JT, who might be reluctant to trying that. But listen, why not think about it? Why not?
I tell you, and I'm getting bombarded here by Wakeleys. I thought that they were all one Wakeley, but I realize now we got 2 of them. We got senior and junior.
Oh
talking to
wow,
us.
I didn't notice that. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
it
watch it
took me
next
a
time.
second. They started posting really back to back pretty quickly. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I didn't realize he could type that fast. But it's
I'll keep an eye on tomorrow.
there you go. So, to be honest, Reese is okay. I mean, he's okay. He's
Right.
serviceable. If you would be able, like, here's my thought. I would love if somebody would take Vince Velasquez, Reese Hoskins, Adubel Herrera, and let's throw in. You know what? Realistically, even realistically, I would consider, and I know Segura is really hot right now. I would trade Segura, Reese Hoskins, Vince Velasquez, and Odubel and get like some real pitching help, some bullpen help, and a center fielder. And bring up the guy from, to play shortstop from Reading and work it out that way.
Yeah, man. I
So,
agree with you.
Kingery, no. The Kingery experiment is
It's
over
over.
now, and he stinks, is the
Yeah, man.
problem.
I like Nick Baton. I like what he did. He showed me a little something. I don't think you should be experimenting too much with him on the field. To me, he's a second baseman. But when pitchers were throwing those fastballs, he was hitting them things. But when people started throwing some changeup and changing it up, he had some troubles there. Shouts to Northeast Streaming. What's going
Yeah,
on, Northeast?
that's right. I appreciate it. And we got Kata here.
Hey.
We'll be talking about them here shortly, so stick around. So we're not gonna leave them high and dry because they really just started their season. Yeah, I feel like let's finish with the Phillies first, and then we'll get into
Right.
the good news. So, anyways, like I said, I know that it's still early in the season, but I think that they are going to have to get creative because they don't have a tremendous amount of assets.
Right.
And
Right.
having Kingery part of the deal. Problem is, Kingery's not worth anything.
Yeah, he makes too much money for not a lot of production.
Right. And
Um,
unless somebody was going to try to, like, he would be an AL player.
right.
I just don't see that. I don't see him doing well in the NL anymore.
Right. See, the problem with me is that I think this team is good enough to be there at the end. I just don't know if we have enough to get over the Mets and the Braves. And to me, you're not that far off. You got to fix this pitching stuff, like the 4-5 slots. Aaron's got to beat Aaron Nola. That he's got to pitch much better. Like what he did Sunday, I can't have that. I cannot have that. I think the bullpen will be fine once you get everyone healthy, right? I think that'll be fine. But the left field, McCutcheon is old, and it's evident out there. Center field has been a question mark all season long, so there's just too many question marks for me to say that they have what it takes to overtake the Mets and overtake the Braves.
Well, I don't know that they have enough right now. And we haven't even talked about the one thing that I think is the most glaring issue with this team. The manager. He has been underwhelming this year.
He won a World
Very
Series?
underwhelming.
He won a World Series?
I couldn't tell. Underwhelming.
It makes no sense to me, honestly.
Like having problems with the lineup card, forgetting when to go. Oh, I already went out here once. I can't go out here again. Have nobody even warming up. Like problem. It makes me wonder where his head's at, because right now I feel like it's up his ass. And I'm tired of hearing him saying, "Yeah, that's on me. That's on me. Yeah, that's my fault." I don't want to hear that it's your fault. You're the manager. You're supposed to know baseball. The fact that you're having these types of problems is pathetic, actually, as a manager.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back Charlie Manuel. Put him in there. At least he knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah. It's just weird to me because before here, obviously, he had his time in New York. It was a good run. But then before that, everyone forgets, dude, he took a Marlins team with one of the worst payrolls, and they almost made the playoffs. So I'm just like, what happened? Like, I will say, I do think analytics have hurt not only the game, but maybe his managerial skills as well. I hear that he's got a huge binder, like, of stats. Like, he carries this around everywhere. And we've talked about this plenty, and I don't want to dive too much into analytics, but the analytics are driving me up a freaking wall. And I feel like it's hurting this team. Okay? Like, I don't feel like this team is that talented for you to rely on these analytics either. And
Right.
certain situations, you have to have that gut feel. Like, I do appreciate, in two starts, he allowed Aaron Nola to finish out that game. He allowed Zach Wheeler to finish that game. Because you should let your star pitchers finish games. If they're having a good game, they're having a shutout, let them finish it out. But yeah, no, it's so questionable. It's so weird to me. And yeah, I'm like questioning, like, is he who he says he is? Like, we thought we moved on from Gabe Kapler to move on to Joe Girardi because we thought Joe Girardi was the baseball guy. But you can make the argument that it doesn't look any different than Gabe Kapler.
It's such a ridiculous thing to think that we are comparing him to Dave Kapler. And, as much as we were so happy to get rid of Kapler, and then what did Kapler do? He came in and beat us twice. And that actually seems to be running a very... Right.
But I think he might be in first place now.
And so the fact that he's got a really bad Giants team in first place, I mean, the guy didn't know baseball. He just lived and died by analytics, and I wasn't a big fan of that.
Yeah, those Giants are in first place right now. They are a game and a half over the Padres, 2.5 over the Dodgers. Two teams that everyone expected.
But that's what they do, though. They start off great, and then they trail off, because that's what Gabe Kapler team does. But, hey, listen. He's got all the coconut oil he wants over there.
Yeah, it's different out there. It's much more relaxed. The fans aren't as crazy as we are.
Oh, he's home.
It's perfect.
That's
place
the perfect spot for him.
Yeah,
Right.
perfect.
But
we're still a game back of the Mets. The Mets are now in first. We're a game back. Braves are a game and a half back. And yeah, it looks like it'll be the three of us. We start a series tomorrow against those stinking Washington Nationals. You're going to have Chase Anderson tomorrow going up against Eric Fetty. And you got to win the series, man. First series against the Mets.
I feel that a game where you give up 3 saves, when you lose out on 3 saves and lose that game, that jump-started the Braves. That was a game that jump-started the Braves. And that's going to become an issue. The Braves are going to now kick it into high gear. And just my opinion. If
I may, just an update on the Flyers game. Joel Farabee with a nice piece of work. Little triple deke on Wedgwood, and it's now 2-1. Flyers are down by 1.
Yeah, because we didn't let you know that they were down 2-0. So here, let's end out this portion of the show on a little bit of a good note. I'm going to use this as my background to start.
Hey.
However, before we get to them, I'm going to run the clip. We have a clip to show, and I'm going to have everybody get hyped up, and we'll talk about them for a few seconds right before we get onto the union.
Take off, picky, I'm blinking, no sticky, no blast off. And I get busy, get bad off. You get hit in your wing, get head off. Wait, this shit get bloody about 10K. Wait, don't stop with it 10K. How many bodies you want? I don't know. It's like I went 10K high, okay. Get it on Sensei Cook. Prime to Diego, Rende. That's how my man play good. Don't play if you don't want to skip me, right? In the cash, this shit can get wicked, I'm savage. See the smoke to these all black legs. I gotta pull them all black. Yeah, like run, force, run. How you stand, run, gun, like I'm Jet Li, boy, and run. They know I hit it through the flow, though. They keep in on the they don't know, though. Boy, if you still let me know, though. We ain't gotta go make a forward for Joe hoes, ever the Joe bitch, I like to slide on smoke shit, ever the Joe bitch, I like to slide on smoke shit, we ain't never shot shit, what a middle. Catch a man, Joe, stay low.
Shout out, yes,
That was a clip from our Philadelphia Phantoms,
That was awesome.
the professional female football team. You heard me talk about them before. They won last week 49-0. Or I'm sorry, 42-0. And they started this season off strong. And I wanted to show that clip because, football is here. Football is here already. And the women started off this season hot. Might be something to go check out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm here for the women's football.
So I figured we got to give them a little bit of play.
100%.
Like I said, it was a cool video that I was able to see, and I just wanted to show them some love.
Cool.
But
Absolutely.
Anyways, let's go with our Philadelphia Union. Big win this Saturday against the Chicago. Is it the Chicago Fire?
Chicago Fire, FC, yep, football club, Chicago Fire. For Jimmy Boy, our coach, he returns back to his club that pretty much made his MLS career. I think he played like 6 seasons in Chicago. He was part of like some of their best teams. They won. That's when Chicago was the Chicago Fire. But it's for him, it's always special going back there. He still has holds a piece of his heart. Like he still has an appreciation for Chicago. But no, this was a game, we talked about it. The Union had the win. To me, there was no excuses. You got to get the 3 points. You started the MLS season off slow. It's okay because we had Champions League, but 1.3 matches, not okay. They get the 3 points. It was big. Chicago's a team that have some talent. They're just not mentally strong. All 4 of their games, they just didn't finish the job. And there was the same thing against the Union. The times they looked like they were giving us some danger. They were creeping on us. They had some opportunities, but the Union took it to them, and they played Union soccer, that physical, high press style soccer. Chicago dominating possession, but that's what the Union want. They want you to dominate possession. That way, they can pressure you and put you in those tough situations so they can steal the ball and get that counterattack going. That's how they kill you, and that's what they did. In the second half, they scored both those goals. It was Jamiro Monteiro crossed it in, and Corey Burke found the ball right in the box, and he nailed it in. He gets another goal. He's been known to kill the Chicago Fire. And then to end it, you had Kai Wagner chip a ball into the box, and Jakob Glesnes. Dude, Jakob has been absolutely killing it this year to the point where I forgot about Mark McKenzie. And I love Mark McKenzie. But Jakob Glesnes is absolutely playing great. He's playing like a top 5 center back in the league right now. So it was really exciting. They get the 3 points, big win. They got to turn back around now. It's this beginning part of the season for the Union, no breaks given. They got to play against New England. We all remember what happened last year. Our season ended at Subaru Park against New England in the playoffs. So you get your revenge this Wednesday. I'm so pumped up. I want to take it to New England, man. I really do. The big news, though, with the Union here, today they dropped that there will be full capacity beginning on June 23rd against Columbus SC. That's a little controversial today as well, as they went through a rebrand. But they will be playing against Columbus with full capacity. So that's exciting to know. And that could be a potential blueprint for the Sixers, the Flyers, the Phillies. Well, not against the Flyers next season, right? But the Phillies, the Eagles, when they get back to full capacity. Obviously, this weekend in our Phillies-Atlanta series, we had full capacity down in Atlanta with the Braves. Texas has been doing full capacity, so we're slowly getting back to a little normality here. But the other bit of news was Daniel Gazdak, a 26-year-old Hungarian central attacking midfielder. He plays for the Hungarian national team. He's got signed. It looks like it's not official from the Union, but we have some very reliable sources that reported it. And it looks like the Union are going to buy him for close to $2 million, $1.82 million. So if you know anything about MLS, that's a pretty good deal. That's a star type of player in the MLS. It's kind of what they're making. So we'll see. I don't really know much about him. All I know is he's a guy who likes to put the ball in net, and that's kind of what we want here in Philadelphia. So I think it'll work out really well. So a lot with the Union right now. Daniel Gazak's definitely exciting. We talked about it. I don't want to look too ahead to Club America in August because we still have 3 months away till that big match. But you got to think about this summer. We have a chance to make a run at this tournament here. And listen, Club America is a tough team, but this isn't the best version of Club America. So you get some pieces in here, one more piece here in the summer, dude. I like our chances against them. So good things going on with the boys in blue.
So I have a question for you.
Fire away.
They have not scored a goal in the first half at all this season. Not in any of the Champions League, not in any of these games.
Yeah.
And I've, especially in the games that I have been to and watched, and I've been to a couple now, so I am. What is the difference? Is it just a matter of feeling out your opponent and then picking out the weakness? Is it something that Jim uses? It's like, okay, we're just going to stand back and we're going to let them take the play to us a little bit so that I can kind of analyze and then make the adjustments in the second half so that we could take it to them. Because ultimately, Club America doesn't play that way, actually. Club America likes to score goals early and likes to get on top of people and make you chase it. So that's so. And after doing a little bit of homework on soccer, which seems a little funny to me that I actually know this a little bit now, but it's like that's going to come into play some, that they are not going to be able to sit back, that they are going to have to play really hard for the full 90 minutes twice. Probably even harder down there because we get their first match up here in August. The next one is in September. And I am seriously considering on going to Mexico for this game. Like, I want to go. I want to go down. I want to go to Mexico City, and I want to go watch the Union beat Club America.
Dude, we all do. We all do. I will say this: typically under Jim Curtin, especially when they've been successful, this team has always been a second half team. We used to have Elsinho, who was we call him the cheat code. We would be down or we would be tied. Second half, he comes on, he starts megging a couple people, faking a couple people out, and he gets us goals, he gets assists. This team's a little bit different, though. What I feel like this year, what they've been doing is, yes, what you said, spot on, brother. So I feel like in the first half, what they want to do is they allow the team to do what they want. And you see, like, in the first half, teams, like, have a couple good opportunities. But what it seems like is the Union play a very mental game. They want to see what you're thinking. They want to see how you're planning on attacking. And then in the second half, they do. Jim is the best at making second half adjustments. He makes those adjustments. The team figures it out. And that's when, boom, they kill you when they counterattack. Like I said, if you look at a lot of these matches that they won, the opposing team just dominates in possession because they want you to do that. That's part of the trap, right? You pressure that back line. You pressure that team. You force those turnovers. And you turn around and you put the ball in the back of the net. When we beat Atlanta, what was happening, we were getting behind their back line. So we get the ball, boom, someone is already making the run, and we're getting behind the back line. You saw the Casper goal is like perfect. Casper go on a breakaway. He finds Anthony Fontana trailing back, finds a wide open Fontana, and he puts it back in the net. So this team is a lot of fun. And if you listen, I grew up in Philadelphia. We love defense. You talk about those Jim Johnson defenses, even the Flyers all those years. The Sixers right now, we love good defense. The Union played really good defense. They really play really good defense. So I'm really curious to see how America is going to play us. Listen, if you're going to come in here playing that soft game, we're going to punch you in the mouth, okay? I know it's soccer, but we'll punch you in that mouth, okay? So they need to come here and play that big boy soccer. And I know they can do that, but they're a little bit of a finesse team. They got this Argentinian manager, Solari, and you can't. Jim is going to bring Philadelphia to Mexico. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome, dude.
I'm excited for it. But like I said, I know what it is that we're dealing with down there. And you just cannot sit back and hope that they are going to be quiet about things. It's just you want them to definitely be able to move forward. And like I said, there's nothing really standing in their way from being able to beat Club America. And then it becomes one game. After you get past them, it's a one-game tournament.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Should be
And
a lot of fun.
that would be amazing for the cup. The guys that hold the shield, then hold the
Champions
cup.
League.
That would be amazing.
It's
And you
not.
know what? And it would break the snide for them. I feel like that even last year, like the winning the Shield was the start, but then in the playoffs, it just they didn't show up. It's that one and done game, and it seems like when it comes down to the one and done games, that they come up small. Maybe it takes an international event for that to finally break through.
Well, when they're the underdog, it seems like they play really well. Like when they made those U.S. Open Cup finals, they were the underdogs, and in all three of those situations, they just couldn't come up big in the finals. Even in the MLS's back tournament last year during the bubble, they were underdogs for most of those games, and they wound up making it all the way to the semifinals. Jim, when he has these guys playing as the underdog, man, I don't know what it is, but he just knows how to get those guys prepared. Now, obviously, this is a different animal, playing against a Mexican team. But listen, MLS Supporter Shield is cool. Like, you were the best team in the regular season. Winning the MLS Cup, I want that. Trust me, I really want that. That's the best team in the MLS that year. But to win a Champions League, Philadelphia has the best soccer team in North America. Listen to that. The best soccer team in that's the best team in the United States, best team in Canada, Mexico, Caribbean, Central America. That is huge. So, yeah, I'm all in on this tournament, man.
Well, like I said, it would be great to see that. Hey, because a soccer team is measured by the amount of cups that they have. That's how you measure a soccer team, and that's just there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So you need to have the trophies. The trophies is what makes a soccer team what makes a soccer team. So unless you have those trophies, it's not going to matter, and they're going to have to put it through.
And we're talking about the relevance of this team. I think back at when the Flyers were winning cups back in the 70s, and that kind of solidified their place within the city. The Unions need to do the same. Philadelphians can say what they want, but we all want to get behind a winner, right? And the Union just need that hardware to just back it up. And I really feel like a lot of people, how can you live in the city and not support someone who's winning trophies in the biggest sport in the world?
Right.
I know what football is, man, in America, but soccer is the biggest sport in the world, guys.
Right. And I know that Philadelphia has not started to take it on yet. Like, I know that it's come on a little bit slow, but we're in Philadelphia, and what happens when we win championships? We make trophies. We make statues. That's what happens. Statues get made when we win trophies. And all of a sudden, because it's just like anything else. Like when nobody's paying attention to the Flyers, and then all of a sudden they make it towards the playoffs and in the Stanley Cup. If they win Game 1 against Club Americana, they're going to all of a sudden Philadelphia is going to know. You know what I mean? Because this is, like I said, it's the Champions League. This isn't just some rinky-dink tournament. This isn't like this is much more like a March Madness of soccer. You know what I mean? So
that's a great comparison.
And they'll start to pick it up. You'll start to see the ticket becoming hard to get. Becoming very hard to get.
Right.
So I'm excited for them. I'm happy for them, and I want to see them do really well, and I want to see them win.
Yes.
I want to see them win. You know what I mean? I want to be, I want to be in front or behind the float in my purple and my blue and gold. You know what I mean? With the blue mohawk standing up proud. You know what I mean? I want to do that. I want to be following the float down wherever it's going to be wherever it's going to go. So, hey, listen, guys, we have an hour left to go in the show, so please stay tuned. We're going to be back in 90 seconds, and then I got a special guest that's going to come on here shortly. He's special just because he's from a different city, and we're going to start talking about because the schedule comes out here in the NFL just on Wednesday. So stay tuned. Like I said, another 90 seconds, and then we will be back.
Let's do it.
You're listening to Northeast Streaming Sports. A group of independent podcasts came together under one umbrella to give you a network that streams from Northeast, New York, down the East Coast to Louisiana, and across the Atlantic Ocean to the United Kingdom. Northeast Streaming Sports streams live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Can be seen on Twitter and Instagram. Audio carried on Spotify with our own website for the best sports information, updates, commentary, and entertainment. Sportscope, TGI Sports Talk, The Safety and the Sports Writer, The Philly Sports Guy, The Mac and Jack Sports Show, Stu's Wrestling Podcast, Four Stripes on Ice, Talking Baseball with Sal and Gioletti, Unscripted, The Big Shaw Sports Report, Frankie C Sports, Fantasy Football Face-Off, 12 shows and growing. There's one place to get your sports on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Hey, and we're back. And as you can see, I've changed it up again.
Go
because-
Birds.
Because we have the schedule going to be coming out here very, very soon.
You scared me. I thought you had it. I was like, whoa. What do you know that I don't?
Nothing yet. I heard it was leaked. But so
Wait. Hold on. Can we first, before we get into it, can we just talk about the Giants, right? Did you see their tweet?
Mm-mm.
No,
I did not see their tweet.
Philly Sports Guy, we literally, as a whole nation, we live in the Giants Giants nation's head. So they put out a tweet. They said, would you want to play Philadelphia week 1? They put that out in the social media site. Like, do they want to play Philly week 1?
I would love for them to do so. I would love for them to do so. Let's get back to that in a minute. But I do have a guest that's going to come on with us. He's a super fan from Jacksonville. He goes by the Jax Man, and he's coming on. What's up, my man? How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes,
Perfect,
so we
brother.
can.
No echo? Okay.
No echo
Okay,
as of
cool,
yet.
cool.
So
Yeah,
welcome on the show. This is obviously we talk a lot about Philly, but we got something special happening here on Wednesday, and I wanted to bring you on because first and foremost, I mean, I didn't see you at the draft, but you guys had a very unique draft pick.
Yes, finally. I think we finally got it right.
Well, at least so everybody thinks. I mean, it was sort of one of those picks that you just couldn't really mess up. You figured it was going to be him.
Well, he's 90-4 since he was a freshman in high school, so he's got to be doing something right.
Kid's got
Something
better.
right. So, what is the temperature down there in Jacksonville now that you have him? Like, what's everybody thinking?
So it was really cool, right? So with me doing what I did up until Sunday anyway, driving for Uber, I get to kind of feel the vibe of the city and stuff. And people were like, beforehand, they're like, oh, they're just going to mess it up. They're going to take this guy and all this stuff, especially people that are uneducated football fans. They're just the casual ones. They're like, oh, they can't be this big of a deal, blah, 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 and stuff. Then afterwards, man, you start seeing people like in droves on social media. Of course, these kids nowadays, they're all about the hot take, blah, blah, blah and stuff. So now you're starting to see, oh, look at my new Trevor Lawrence jersey and stuff like that. And I'm like, where were you last year? Like I had to go through that 1-15. It was tough. I said, if we win a Super Bowl because of him, It won't be a Lombardi. It'll be 1-15 on my tattoo because that makes you remember no matter what, it can get worse.
you
Oh,
lose it for
well,
him.
absolutely. I can imagine. You know what I mean? And of course, he made news. He made news in a lot of different, so I play in different worlds. So I'm a sports guy, but I'm also like a guy who follows the cryptocurrencies and such like that. And
Mhm.
here it is. He's taken his whole signing bonus in Dogecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. And that made news in the cryptocurrency world. And so it's like he's making news all over the place. It's not just for football.
What I love about him is he is. I mean, he is what do you call it? Like on and off the field, a great guy. Like before the draft, he had a wedding registry where all they did was put like a $300 toaster on it. We donated like over 20,000 as Jag fans to it. He takes and donates the excess besides the toaster to the to local charities and stuff, and then donated to Jacksonville charities. And this is 3
Nice.
weeks before he was drafted. So
Love
it's
that.
one of those things where it was. Hold on, I'm trying to get this camera right. It's one of those things where it's kind of a match made in heaven. Like, thank you for the Jets, for beating the Eagle or not the Eagles, sorry, the Rams. So if they would not have beat the Rams, we would not have this chance. We would be picking between Fields or Wilson, and we probably wouldn't got the coach we got neither. So Urban Meyer was he's got an 800 win percentage, for a reason. Like
You're
literally
excited about
17
Urban.
years. I think he only had 32 losses at the college level, and most of those were at Bowling Green. He went undefeated with Alex Smith at Utah. Then he goes with his Chris Leak at quarterback, Tebow's first year, but it wasn't. He was the backup then, and won a national championship at Florida. Then won another one with Tebow, and then goes to Ohio State with his third string quarterback and wins one.
Speaking of
Pretty good
Tebow,
coaching.
Speaking
I'm
of
sorry?
Tebow, speaking of Tebow, I heard that he's a new tight end.
Yep, apparently he's switching over to tight end. They're gonna. I think me being a Gator, I'm telling everybody right now, I don't think he'll make the squad. I think it might be just to try to see what he's got, kind of test him out. Because I mean, honestly, have you ever seen a tight end a screen that turns into a 50-yard bomb? I mean,
Why doesn't he just coach? Like, why does he have to play?
so hey, he did nothing but win in the NFL.
That you know what? You actually do have a point. And
Yeah, I mean,
I was one of those people.
He took a 1-5 Denver squad that hadn't been to the playoffs in forever, and took them 8-8 and beat one of the best defenses in the league that year.
I thought it was crazy he didn't get another opportunity. I mean,
No,
if you look at
it's-
some of those
it's wild
backup jobs, they're
I
terrible.
mean, he got replaced by Peyton, which I understand that completely.
Oh yeah.
But like he couldn't. They wouldn't even. They skipped past him when Sanchez got hurt. Like seriously, like you trade for him, but let's not
They
use
put
him. Let's
McElroy.
not use the exciting guy. He goes, and then when he was with the Patriots, he won on a fourth quarter comeback, the last preseason game of the year, and gets cut 2 days later
Same here.
after Belichick talking about how special he was.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and the same thing happened here. I mean, he wore number 11 before Carson Wentz did.
Yeah.
yep.
So,
Hey,
Jax,
that,
man,
that would be a fun jersey to have.
Yeah, man. Let me ask you something. So, I hear a lot of talk down in Jacksonville, right? Trevor Lawrence, listen, he's a generational quarterback. I do agree there. But there's a lot of talk about potential playoffs in year one for you guys. Now, I get the division is not as strong. Obviously, many people believe Indy might run away with that. But what is your take? What do you feel like the Jacksonville realistically can do in year one with Urban and Trevor?
Well, I mean, honestly, Indy's going to depend upon y'all's old quarterback if he can stay healthy or not. I mean, that's
the
a
truth,
huge
brother.
if. I mean, I think they still have Jacoby, if I'm not mistaken. So Jacoby's a solid backup.
He's in
Jacoby Brissett.
Miami, actually.
Oh, is he? I didn't even see that.
He signed a nice deal.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I need to get caught back up on that. Yeah, because he
That's
had a
all
good
good.
deal with the Colts. I mean, like they signed him almost starter money. So who is the backup there then? Jeez.
It's a good question.
So-
Nick Foles.
Our division, if you look at it, I think every year for the last 7 years has put in at least 2 teams in. It's something crazy like that. We always have either like the year it was us and the Titans, or it's the Texans and the Titans, or the Colts and the Titans. Like we always put 2 in every single
Mhm.
year. We're a competitive division, no matter who's up, at the top. The big thing is, I think that the Titans lost too much this offseason. They're going to rely upon Derrick Henry, and the problem is when it's in Tannehill's hands, they don't do so well.
Yeah.
His clutch rating's crap. So like you can't. I don't know. I mean, you can do it. Eric Dickerson did it for years, but eventually the wheels are going to run off. You're going to, he's a big boy, so he might not get hurt. But the big question is going to be what's happening with the Texans with Deshaun, because that looks like it's headed towards a nasty divorce. So that will open up, especially with the new format with the 17 games. We could slip in this year, no joke. I mean, if you look at our team last year, we were losing games by 1 possession all year. Like we went to overtime with Minnesota. We lost by 2 points, and that was just from dumb coaching to the Cleveland Browns, who went on to win us playoff game. So it reminds me a lot of our 16 season, where we were losing games by 3 or 4 points all year. Then they added 1 or 2 guys with Fournette, and all of a sudden, boom, they popped off the next year. So it's going to be, knock on wood. I mean, we picked up Shaq Griffin, which I thought was one of the most underrated pickups of all of the offseason. It didn't get talked about at all. Shaq Griffin's a baller. He knows how to play on both sides too. So picking him up, and originally it was reported that his brother was signing with us, but that became a non-factor. I don't know what's happened there. I haven't read anything on it.
He resigned. I think he resigned with Seattle. So
did he? And he's an underrated player too to me. I always liked him. I love his heart. So I mean, the man literally plays with a club. I mean, that's insane.
And he plays cornerback with the club. So it's like that.
Linebacker.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, it's going to be interesting to kind of watch and see how you guys do. It's like it says. I mean, I being at the draft, I was listening to some of the pundits down there like that, and they were saying that he has the opportunity. He's probably the first guy in a very long time who has the opportunity to be an international star, not just in football, but to be like people were comparing his look to Fabio. You know what I mean? And that like if he has that he would have possibly that appeal, and that, like I said, ultimately that he could be one of those players that could possibly transcend.
That's what's cool about us having played so many games in London is we do have an international fan base already over there. Like we got a lot of people, like I'm in a couple Jaguar groups that are from the UK that would have never even, jumped on our bandwagon if it wasn't for that.
Yeah, but the Eagles got a big bandwagon. Yeah, big group of people over there too. So
no. We played y'all over there a couple years ago. Yeah. It was the downfall. We were coming off that crazy AFC. It should have been, honestly, man, if it wasn't for us running into that team that resides in New England, we would have probably, that'd been that. I wanted that Super Bowl matchup. The NFL didn't want it.
Blake Bortles would have been a Super Bowl quarterback.
I'm sorry?
Blake Bortles would have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, what's wild is think about the last 4 quarterbacks that year. Brady, Foles, Bortles, and Keenum.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Literally, the NFL did not want to see Bortles make it. I mean, that's what's wild about him is his stats mirror image Big Ben's to start his career, except for Big Ben had Hines Ward, Jerome Bettis, and a defense.
There you go. So are they going to be now, obviously the schedule comes out on Wednesday, but are they going to be playing more games over there? I know that in theory they were trying to set it up so that I believe it was Jacksonville was going to be there for like 3 weeks at a time.
Two. So what they were trying to do originally 2 years ago was 2 games in London. I don't know if that's going to happen now because of everything going on with Trevor, but we have an extra home game now. So, and it's against the Falcons, and a lot of people think we're going to play the Falcons over there.
So, yeah, and I heard, I heard that they were not going to use the Falcons because the Falcons were supposed to play over there too. And ultimately,
teams are volunteering for it nowadays because of how much money they make. They don't have to revenue share it.
Right.
That's what people don't realize is the Bears lost a home game because they wanted to.
Well, Atlanta has got a home game. You have a home game over there, so that's why I don't think you're going to be playing
Okay.
Atlanta over there, unless Atlanta goes over there for 2 games and plays you. Like you guys would go over there
Yep.
for 2 games, and then that second game would be Atlanta, and then Atlanta play their second game as a home game. Like they'd play an away
Yeah.
game and a home game. Because
'Cause I
I've been
heard-
hearing rumors that Philadelphia may
Yep.
be one of the teams that obviously there's only 5 teams that are available to play over there, and
So before COVID, the rumor was going around that I heard, and this is from some actual, they're pretty decent sources that have been right in the past. The NFL was trying to do 8 games over there total and sell a season pass.
right.
So
Yes, I
that
heard
way
that.
you have different matchups each week, and they just buy a season pass for over there. But you're
Right.
not having too many teams losing their market. So, and it makes money for the NFL all the way around. So, because what's happening is over there, the teams, the stadiums are actually paying the NFL to have the games there now. So the 2
Tottenham
stadiums
Stadium,
are
yeah.
paying the NFL. So
Right. And that
it's
was the
very
purpose of
interesting.
having the 17th game, where the 17th game was not going to be a home game for any of the teams, and that all of the teams would be making the trek. So,
And I
but they were
heard,
going to include that, and they were also going to include Mexico City as one of
yeah,
the spots as well.
I heard the neutral site game thing get thrown around. That wasn't confirmed by anything, but did you hear anything about that?
I did not.
So the room now, this was just like I don't know if it was like a fantasy rumor or whatever, but I heard a lot. I heard it from 2 or 3 different people that they were talking about doing, like, say that New Orleans plays Tennessee and Alabama at the Alabama Stadium, that third
Yeah.
game. So I mean, it makes sense because then you get into a markets that you don't have that are right here in your own backyard.
Right. Yeah, but
100,000 people at
but
Bryant
the only
Denny.
way that works is if you have that make it a third divisional game.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because there's
That's
also
the only
I
time
mean,
that can really work. So, and that's just my opinion.
yeah. Because I don't think it's fair that teams should have to switch up with the home games anyway. Like there shouldn't be no team that has 9 home games. It's not competitive then. It's not it's not level playing field like they talk about.
Well, it's
There
only
should
going to happen for a couple of years before they switch to week 18. They're going to have an 19th, an 18th week, and it's going to be a 20-week season. The NFL has been working diligently to try to make the Super Bowl the same week as President's Weekend.
okay.
So that Monday everybody has off after the Super Bowl. It's been working that for a long time. This is now the first time the Super Bowl is going to be a week later than it normally is. It's going to be the second week in February. All they need to do is push it one more week, and
Yep.
so they're going to start on Labor Day and they're going to end on President's Day. And that's how it's going to be, because it's going to need to be a 20. You're going to have 2 buys during the season. 18 games, 2 buys, 20 weeks.
And you notice they've been spreading out the season even more and more each year. To try to get something big in each month. You got the schedule release in May. April is the draft. Free agency. They're being smart about it. You're only going to have maybe June of a lull nowadays.
Well, that's when camps start. You have those camps that kind of come into play and such. So that's where that all comes in. It comes in because July, you got the mini camps in June. July, you start getting everybody into camp. August, you're in camp, because you get 5-6 weeks of camp, and then September is.
What y'all's takes? With y'all's draft?
I liked our draft. I mean, first off, I love it when Cowboys cry, and then when they helped us make the Giants cry, that was a beautiful thing for me. I love that. I absolutely love that. After that, their second round pick. I know that this guy's been injured, but that guy is an absolute stud. I like it when you get offensive linemen. When you can get a big guy that knows how to move and knows how to push people around, I want that guy. They don't make many of them, and the bigger they are and the way that they're able to move around, that's what I like. So I'm really big in that. Those two. Landon Dickerson from Alabama.
Oh yeah. Did you hear we got the starting linebacker Moses from Bama undrafted?
Whew.
Got you.
Yeah, because he was coming off an ACL. He played last year. He's a captain for a Nick Saban team, and he went undrafted.
Yep.
He was supposed to be a
Crazy.
top 15 pick last year. Yeah, like
Good.
the way too early drafts had him going like 13.
Right.
we got him undrafted, so he's going starting his career on the non-football injury reserve list, but he's undrafted. So
There you go.
Take a flyer on that for sure.
So, real quick, just as I want to close up, because we got to get moving on here. But I appreciate you coming on here. What is your thoughts on how Jacksonville does this year? What is your without seeing the schedule, obviously until Wednesday? What is your thoughts on the record that the Jacksonville Jaguars have in 2021?
Well, our opponents are tough, so I know that much. We play at LA, at New York, and at Seattle, at New England. I mean, so honestly, just eight wins will put me happy. I know that's not 500, but I think we have the chance. I think adding Urban Meyer by itself added 4 wins to 5 wins to a 1-win team by itself.
Okay. Well, that's pretty lofty. If you go from 1 to 8, and listen, that would be a tremendously big step, and it would really show like that Trevor is the real deal, because obviously you're giving 4 wins to Urban Meyer, and then a couple wins to Trevor. You know what I mean? And who knows? Maybe 1 or 2 wins by Tebow, and then you got 9 wins. 9 wins is.
Put him in
7
the
teams
quarter,
making
baby.
it to the playoffs now. 7 teams making it to the playoffs. So you could very well be in there. It's not the most craziest thing in the world to hear worst to first again, or from
it happens all the time.
15 in the playoffs. So it wouldn't be a surprise at all. So
Jackson, shouts to Duval County, man.
Duval. And Cowboys.
You got to teach all those kids. You got to teach all those kids that now got the Trevor Lawrence jersey. Exactly.
I got to teach them it, baby.
That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to build that next generation. We only got about 3 generations of fans, so we're only 26 years old. I'm trying to build them up.
Yeah, I remember when Brunell was there. I was rooting for you guys when Brunell was there. So
Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell,
probably the best wide receiver not in the Hall of Fame.
Dude, I love Keenan McCardell. And that name
Jimmy
is also
Smith,
a great
man,
football name.
But Jimmy Smith, he had more catches, more yards, right at the same touchdowns as Michael Irvin, and now got nominated.
Wow.
There you go. And he would be the first one from Jacksonville, correct?
Yeah, we don't have a Hall of Famer yet.
Wow. I did not know that.
We've had Baselli. He's been in the top 10 the last 5 years, 6 years straight. So it sucks, man. We're trying to get it up there because I was joking around. I said I can't even put myself in the Ford Hall of Fame or try to go in the Ford Hall of Fans if we don't have a Hall of Famer to nominate me.
Do the Panthers have one? Because you guys came in the same year.
It'd be sad if I went in before a Jaguar.
Well, good luck with that. So it's everybody gets a chance. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting for my nomination. I haven't heard of anything yet. So I figure I got a ways to go yet before somebody decides to nominate me.
Yeah, man. There's too many people ahead of me in Jacksonville that deserve it way more than me. So.
But well, listen, I really do appreciate you coming on, and we'll definitely, once the season gets hopping, we'll definitely have you come back on again.
Yeah, definitely, man. Y'all be safe, okay?
You too.
Right,
Pleasure meeting you.
Thank you very much. You have a great one. All right.
Jax Man.
The Jax Man there. Talking about, like I said, I wanted to bring him on because it's interesting to hear, especially he's got the number 1 pick there. They're all super excited down there.
He's high on Urban Meyer, too.
Yeah. And I guess you have to be. Like, if you're going to start to try to turn things around, you better make sure that you have, the pieces in place. And, I got to imagine that's why Urban Meyer went down there to begin with. He's like, let me see. I'm going to get the number 1 draft pick, and I'm going to get the number 1 next to God. You know what I mean? Be the tight end. I might as well give it a shot. You know
let me tell you, I'm an Eagles fan, and I know Urban Meyer is 10 times a better college coach than Chip Kelly was, but I still got bit by Chip Kelly, so I'm a little iffy on the college coaches now. But
Well,
we'll see.
and it's going to be interesting. It's definitely
It
going to
will.
be interesting. I'm right there with you. I don't just because you were great in
College.
college does not equate to you being great in professional. And my expectation is that he started off great with a good quarterback. I mean, you're starting off from day one with somebody who you think you're going to be able to build a team around. And ultimately, it's the same thing that Jimmy Johnson kind of did. And, obviously he had somebody very specific who he was able to trade and get a world of, things back,
Yeah, man.
for. So.
Yeah, man. So like the key to the transition from college to the NFL, and it's a difference from guys like Pete Carroll to guys like Chip Kelly. You can't treat these guys like kids. You got to remember that these are professional grown men. If you start going in there acting like this is a college program, they're going to eat you up. And I feel like Urban's going to be able to get over that hump because I do think he's really smart. I do think he's built for this type of situation. But we'll see how long he lasts. Even Pete Carroll, I mean, like Pete Carroll's he's been in Seattle for a while. But dude, it's been a grind out there, man. It's been a grind for him, and it
took
easy.
him a while to get started. I mean,
yeah,
and there's, the NFL is littered with college quarterbacks or college coaches who didn't make it. You know what I mean? You got Steve Spurrier, who Ed mentioned, and then you have even
Jim Harbaugh.
Jim Harbaugh. Well, Jim Harbaugh did go to the Super Bowl.
That's true. True.
So.
Burned out, but yeah.
Yeah, well, and you can see he's not a really good super coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's about to leave Michigan.
Right. And then you have, what's his face? Chip Kelly, but beyond that.
There was Greg Schiano. Remember Greg Schiano with Tampa Bay?
The guy from Alabama.
Nick Saban. Yeah, with the Dolphins.
He just quit.
Yeah. No, what happened was he signed the wrong quarterback. He should have signed Drew Brees. He probably would have been in the NFL still.
Probably.
But,
oh well, it was too big a shoes for him to fill, trying to follow behind Don Shula.
And then you have Kingsbury out in Arizona, who literally got fired by Texas Tech, and he gets hired by the Arizona Cardinals.
But then again, you also have my man down in Carolina. I think he's going to do really well.
I love what he's doing. He's building it right too.
Right.
He's building it right. Well, listen, with our Eagles, this past weekend we had some news. The Howie honestly was a good pickup. So they pick up Kerryon Johnson from the Lions waiver wire. This is a former second-round pick who's still on his rookie deal, who kind of just fell out of favor. He got hurt, too. It's unfortunate stuff. But the kid's got some talent. Kid can probably help you out here. He was the running back that broke the long streak of... The Lions had like 3 or 4 seasons, or 5 seasons of a running back not rushing for 1,000 yards. That is crazy. People don't think about that, but the Lions, since Barry Sanders, have yet to have a good running back. It's crazy. It's like the Dolphins with quarterbacks. But yeah, we take a waiver on a guy who was a former second-round pick who actually was pretty solid in this league. He does a little of everything. He pass blocks. He can catch. He can run between the tackles. To me, this is a low-risk, high-reward type of situation. This is a guy who can be part of your rotation. And now what you're looking at here is you're looking at the Eagles actually prioritizing a running game possibly. You have a good group in here that's going to compete for spots on this roster. Obviously, Miles Sanders' spot is secured. He's your running back this year. But you got Jordan Howard. You got Boston Scott. You got Kenneth Gainwell from the NFL draft. You have, Corey Clement, I guess, is still here, which I don't know how much longer he's going to be here for. Johnson here, Kerryon Johnson, we just signed. You still got Hundley, and you still got, what's his name, Rankings from last year. So I really am happy that Howie and the Eagles are prioritizing the running game. I hope we run the ball much more than what we did this past season. Because, look, you got a young QB. Jalen also is a mobile quarterback. Let's get those RPO going. Let's get those triple option going. Run the ball. Set up the pass. Or this offense should be all right.
Well, I won't believe it until I see it. I will not believe it until I see it. And that's the hard part with that. I just don't trust that they're going to run the ball.
I hope they do, man. It really, and the reason why I'm like, I feel like we will, only because of what I saw in Indy. Indy used the running backs in many different ways. They ran the ball. They put those guys, they lined them up as wide receivers too. They did different things, and I just hope that he does take what he did in Indy, brings it here, create those mismatches, put guys in different spots. Like you'll see Devontae in the slot, you'll see Devontae outside. Same thing with Jalen Reagor. Same thing with Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz is still here too. So use that creativity for this offense because you do have some pieces here.
The biggest difference is that the offensive line is going to be back.
Yes.
And Dillard's going to be healthy again, although I don't think that he beats out, Mailata. They're going to be heavy on the offensive line, the defensive line, and, in running backs. And even receivers. Like, we got all these receivers now. Like, who doesn't make the cut? I was trying to figure that out. I'm like,
dude, Greg Ward might not make the cut.
I figure he's not going to. And I'm thinking JJ is not going to make it either.
He better not. I better not see his butt here. But yeah, I think it's going to be obviously Devontae Smith. You got Jalen Reagor. I think Fulgham's going to get his opportunity here. And then I would hope Quez makes the team.
Quez. I want Quez. He's the fastest guy on the team.
I would like him here too, man. They picked up a couple other guys through like practice squad, but yeah, you would predict that this team would go with 5 wide receivers, maybe a guy on the practice squad. But yeah, man, listen, for Boston Scott, Greg Ward, and Alex Singleton, 3 guys who kind of just stuck around. Great stories. Credit their heart because they've worked their butt off to make these teams. But maybe at least for Boston. And for Greg, maybe their run is done here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think so. And I'm even beginning to think Fulgham's the same way. He may get pushed off as well.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of pressure on Travis Fulgham. We'll see what he has here. Are we going to get the? Also, I did hear he suffered an injury midway through last year, which is weird because why was he never on an injury report? And he was playing all those games, so.
He was there, but he wasn't getting the ball thrown to him. So, that would make a little bit more sense on saying, hey, he was hurt a little bit and, blah, blah, blah. That's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like blah, blah, blah. This is the reason why he wasn't being thrown the ball. But
just really hope he's not another Don Brown, like a one-hit wonder. Because, dude, those 3 games, oh, my God, it was so much fun.
Right.
Dude looked like T.O. for a little bit. And I was just like, is this guy legit? And yeah, he kind of fell off. So we'll see what this coach is. I really see. I know it's a little premature, but I just love Sirianni. Like his energy is everything to me right now, and I just hope that feeds off to these guys. He's got a lot to prove too. We don't know anything about this coaching staff, anything other than Stoutland, right? But we don't know anything about anyone else.
Yeah. Well, It's going to be interesting. The one thing that I have heard coming from that whole camp right now is that the energy level is really high. And that's kind of cool to hear. You know what I mean? Like, hey, listen, I'm high energy. I like being high energy. I know what high energy can do if everybody's pulling in the same direction. Losing kills high energy, though.
Yes.
You can't keep high energy and lose.
Right.
So hopefully, that's why I would love to play the Giants in week 1 and smack them around.
Let me
smack them around some.
Let me ask you something. How's your rock, paper, scissors game?
Solid. So
he's already notorious for rock, paper, scissors. I love it.
Well, exactly. Well, and you know what? Same thing with Kutch at third base. He's always So after he hits a home run, I think he's what 70%, 60 or 70%.
Something like
You get
that,
the
yeah.
ties or the lose and stuff like that. So, but
Yes,
because you
sir.
only get one chance, you have to like tie. It's like so. I would like to see a Week 1 Giants matchup. You
Let's
know,
do it. Let's do it.
that would be, and the thing is that they would make that Monday Night Football.
I want to go up there. I want week 1 up there, though. I don't want it here. I want it up there. And I want to go. I want you and I to go.
Well, I'm running trips. I'm running trips all over the place. Once this
With
schedule
who?
comes
With
out,
who?
with who? With who? Well, Philly sports trips. Let me
Let's
tell
go.
you who I'm running these trips with. Not only are we running trips, but we're going to be having a tailgate for every home
Let's
game
go.
down in the Navy Yard at the bar right there. We're going to be doing it all season long. Tailgates here, and then I'm going to all of these away games. We're doing Denver. We're doing Vegas. We're doing
Ooh.
Carolina. I'm doing Atlanta. You know what I mean? It's going to be all of these places. Everybody who's got 2 names is coming to us. Kansas City, Los Angeles, New Orleans. Like it says, it's like every home game minus, or whatever, has got 2 names coming here. So that's funny how that worked out. But like Los Angeles, Kansas City, New Orleans, Tampa Bay, all home games.
We get Tommy
So,
Boy this year. That's great.
yes. I'd love to see him get smacked.
He still doesn't like us.
So, yeah, he's always crying. He's always crying about something. He was trying to bust. What's his name's balls? Kevin Hart. And Kevin
Oh.
Hart was. Oh, you didn't hear about that during the draft. The NFL had his thing, and he's like, he's like, well, we couldn't get the Rock, so we wound up getting you to Kevin Hart. And Kevin's like, I ain't buying it. You think you're so great? Tampa Bay was stacked before you went there. That's the reason why you went there. Go to like Detroit and try to win a Super Bowl, and then maybe I'll believe. I think that you're just fugazi. And he's like,
That's not a
yeah,
bad point.
I got all my friends around here, so you're going to have the. We're not listening to what you got to say.
That's not a bad point that he put out there.
I agree. It's just it was kind of funny to hear it. Kevin Hart
Kevin
stick it
Hart,
up. He's like,
yeah.
you can't beat the NFC East. You're 1-3 against the NFC East in major games.
It's gutsy, man. That's gutsy. 49ers coming to Philly? San Fran's coming to Philly?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because they were in 4th place. So that's why I say anybody who's got 2 names is coming. San Francisco, Los Angeles, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to. There's nothing really with San Francisco this year.
No, I actually San Francisco. It's going to be interesting because they got a quarterback and who's going to start for them. Bosa comes back. Is he going to be healthy
Joey
enough to be
Bosa.
able to play? So, and we took it to them last year. With a half a team. You know what I mean? So, but they also didn't have Bosa. Their quarterback was hurt. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, man. Can't wait.
Yeah, Denver's going to be a lot of fun. I know that people are really excited for the Denver trip. Of course, everybody was going to go to Vegas, but I'm definitely going out to do Denver. I'm going to do Denver. I'm going to be out for Denver all week long. I'm going out there really early. So I'm hoping that it's not a Monday Night Football game here, and then we go out to Denver. I'm hoping because I want to get out there for a few days.
No, I want to go to Vegas for sure, man. That'll be a lot. And obviously, like the city is like there's a lot to do, especially if you're an adult. But that stadium intrigues me. Like the black hole, it's like legit. It's a Death Star, and I really want to check it out. So that's definitely one I want to check out, man.
So I am going with the captain. We saw him on here a little earlier. The captain's got a seat for me.
Nice.
So I am going down there with the captain in the black hole. In the middle of the black hole, you're going to see the green guy out there. It's like I'm going to be the torpedo shot that blows up the Death Star. That's what it's going to be like with me because they can't handle what I got. They think that they're louder than me. There's only one guy in the NFL who's the loudest, and it's this guy right here. So
Let's go.
But yeah, it's like I said, it's going to be exciting. And then going to Denver, like I said, you're going to. I've never been to Mile High Stadium, so I know they don't call it Mile
Really?
High anymore. But it's definitely. I'm excited. I'm hoping that it's early enough that I could also catch a baseball game out there.
That's the thing to do out there. So I'm going I'm going Wednesday or Thursday, and so we have a friend of a friend that lives out there, and they were like, yeah, you got it. She's like telling us things to do. You're like, yeah, you got to go to the Colorado Rockies game, and I'm like, they suck. Why would I go to a Colorado? I'm a Phillies fan. They're like, no, it's a place to go, but I get the whole high elevation thing. Balls fly. That's entertaining, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to a Rockies game. If my Phillies are out there.
Actually, yeah, I actually going to a Rockies game isn't so bad. Like when I was out in Pittsburgh, I went to a Pirates game. You want to see the stadium. You want to get around. You stay for 5 innings and then you roll. You know what I mean? It's like you're not going there. You go there, you get a real super cheap seat. You go sit in the seat for a half an inning, and then you walk around the stadium and you check out all of the stuff that the stadium has to offer. And I would do that just because that's how I am. Like I take some pictures. I mean, you could do your little dance out there and be like,
I
hey,
will.
this is where the Phillies normally lose. You know what I mean? Because we normally get our asses beat out there. So,
Man.
maybe doing your dance will change everything.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go to every stadium and I'm gonna do something. Even the Rapids.
So, and you're going out there on Thursday. Colorado, the Colorado Avalanche are still playing too. They got a pretty good
playoffs.
So, that I don't know who they're going to be up against. That's possible they'll
be top
playing.
Seed, right?
I think they're number 2. So, or number 3. I'm not exactly sure. I'd see it again. This is now the West, so it's even harder for me to try to figure out who's in there and who's going to be doing it. But that's also a good thing to kind of do out there. And well, at least it'll be a little bit warmer. It shouldn't be snowing like it was like 2 weeks ago.
It's crazy.
So,
yeah, it's supposed to be in the 70s.
It is Colorado, so I would still bring some winter clothes because it's going to be chilly at night.
Whew. Sounds good, man. Sounds good.
And if you want to find out of a specific bar, I don't have the glass on me right now.
I need to go to that Philly bar.
I gotta introduce you to those places because that one Philly bar is that's near the colleges. That's near the one college, and oh my lord, if I had the shirt on, I would know.
Colorado.
Colorado
the
State. One. It's probably Colorado. Because
they're like the Buffaloes. They're the black and gold team, and then the Colorado State, the Rams, are green and gold. Right,
but this was, obviously this was a Philly bar, and it was something Ashbury Provisions. Great Philly bar, and there's some Philadelphia stuff out there, so you should be able to find that real simple. You look
We're literally everywhere around the country. That's crazy.
Exactly. I use an app when I go anywhere. And I find where the Philly bars are at. It's a great little app. I'm gonna give them a plug here. It's what is it? Here it is. Team Bar Finder. I'm gonna show the app. Find your happy place. Team Bar Finder, and you put in whatever team, and immediately it'll pull you up all the different bars in that area that fall into that category.
Okay.
So, Team Bar Finder. There you go. I gave them a nice little plug there.
This was not a paid advertisement, guys.
Yeah, they should pay me though. They should pay us. People are watching this all around the world, so they would know. Team Bar Finder is where you find for all your Philly, all the teams, any team you want to. If you're a fan of somebody else and you put it in there, and it'll show you all the different bars that fall into that category. So listen, we got a few minutes left, so we got to change it up to my last one here. Give me 1 second here, and we got bam. The 10-9-8 76ers.
You guys, I like it. My childhood logo.
Yeah, I went old school here because the other logo is like hard. It would be hard to see.
I feel you. I feel you.
So,
Sir, they're on an 8-game winning streak. I know it's against bad teams, but I'll take a winning streak when I can get one.
hey, you know what? And even during those 8 games winning streaks, they've had chances to lose and have pulled them out and won. You know, like you got the tap in for 2. He only scored 5 points in that game, but he got the most important 2, and
man.
things like that. So I'm, it's interesting. Again, going in on a hot streak is still going in on a hot streak. So it's important to kind of do that. They were talking on Sports Talk Radio whether they should rest them up and go in a little bit rested, because I think that they win it now. They got to win. They got to go 500, or nobody else has to lose to wind up getting the number 1 seed. More importantly, and I'm going to just do a little bit of research really quickly, because I want to know where are the, when we're talking about the standings, where are the Celtics
Sixers?
are in the 7 spot.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because the 7 and 8, are going to face off against the winner of the 9 and 10. And it looks right now as if it was to end today, Washington would be in the number 9 spot. It's possible that Washington could be in the 8th spot.
Wow.
They could wind up being number 8. And if that's the case, they will wind up playing the Celtics, who look like they're going to be in the 7th spot. They're down 2 games to the Heat, who have the 6th spot right now. And if that's the case,
big blow today. They just lost Jaylen Brown for the rest of the season, so that's a big blow. So yeah, that could very well happen.
Which means that if everything was to hold serve right now, because there's 2 games up on the Hornets, and the Hornets are 1 game up on the Wizards, who's a half a game up on the Pacers. Looks to me like the Bulls, even after doing all of those changes, they're trying to make a little bit of run and won 3 in a row, are not going to make the playoffs.
I don't think so.
So you're going to wind up having, I think it's going to be the Celtics and Washington. And then the Celtics are going to have to play the winner of the Hornets and Pacers. And that's how that's going to go. So 7 and 8 go against 9 and 10. The winner of that 7-8 game goes in the number 7 seed. The winner of the 9-10 game plays the loser of the 7-8 game. So that's what makes it. So if you're the Celtics and lose your last 2 games, you're out of the playoffs. So
this is true, man. So when I see this team, look, yes, it's an 8-game winning streak against not that good of teams, right? But to me, with the main difference with this team now led by Doc Rivers and maybe last year's team led by Brett Brown, I see confidence. Like, it's a championship type of confidence that this team has. So in these games, this year as a whole, like, teams haven't been able to practice as much as they've wanted to. And when you're talking about Doc Rivers going into his first season with this team, you kind of want that practice time. But what they're really doing in these 8 games that you're really seeing, Doc is trying different things. Doc is using these games as practice time. He's trying different things, putting guys in different situations. Tyrese Maxey started on Saturday in that win against Detroit, that second from the back-to-back. My man drops 22 points. He's 35 minutes. He had the most minutes out of the starting lineup. So I love the fact that this team knows they are good. But now they need to know that they are great. Make this run here. Yes, winning streak against bad teams, we won't get too excited. But it's the momentum that is building, and it's slowly rolling into the playoffs. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for these last couple of games, and we can get to this playoffs. And this is what we've been waiting for. Like, we know the Sixers have been a good regular season team, but what are we going to do in the playoffs? And the best part about it, we don't know what the rotation is because there's a couple options here, and that's also a kind of a good thing there as well. First time the number 1 seed since 2001, and you picked the perfect logo for this moment. So, yeah, man, the Sixers team is a lot of freaking fun, man, and I hope and this team can make a run. They just got to play their game, play that bully ball, Sixers basketball, Just suffocate the ever living, out of the teams.
Right. As I'm just looking to see because there's 4 games left for us. There's 4 games left for the
Right.
Nets. There's 5 games left for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's the reason why we can't clinch it with 1 game.
2.
Yeah,
2
we need
games.
2.
We got this.
We need 2 to
Right.
fully clinch. So either a loss by the Nets would clinch it against them. Because I think we tied the season series with them.
I think we won it actually. Only loss
But we
was
lost
in Brooklyn.
We lost the season series to the Bucks.
Yes.
And that's the reason why we need the 2 wins. 2 wins
Yes.
would then, because they're 3.5 games out right now, with 5 games left where we have 4.
Yeah.
So,
and the Nets are in danger of dropping to 3.
it's not going to matter. The 2 and 3 spot's going to be the same, realistically, because they're going to wind up facing each other. It's going to be interesting to see, is the Heat strong enough to beat the Knicks? And as we talk about that, there's still only 1 game out, and they're all 4 games left too. So the Knicks, the Hawks, and the Heat are 1 game out between 4th and 6th place.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see where all the seeding comes from, because number 2 versus number 7, 1 versus 8. I mean, so we could wind up playing the Celtics in the first round.
Bring it on, man.
And it would be nice to be able to just go smack them around a little bit and just sweep them.
Yeah.
Give a little bit of payback from last year.
Yeah, but a part of me wants to see Jalen out there with them too. But no, I mean, if that's your opponent, you got to take care of business. But yeah, I would rather see Jalen play out there. But the season's not going to be as easy as many people think. I see a team like New York giving you fits. I see a team like Miami's interesting because we all know what they did last year. They kind of stumbled their way to the finish line here. But what are they going to be in the play? We know what Jimmy does come playoff time, but it was a weird year with them. So definitely a lot of question marks. But yeah, I just see our Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals.
So teams that are moving, that are doing well right now. Sixers are 8-2 in their last 10. The Bucks are 8-2 in their last 10. The Knicks are 7-3. The Heat are 7-3. The Wizards are 7-3.
Dude.
Everybody else is 5-5 except the Celtics, who are 4-6 in their last 10.
And could we also? I know it's looking at the West, but the Lakers are now the 7th seed. They have to do the play-in.
Right now, and they are 1 game out of the Trailblazers.
I hope they're in the play-in. I hope so.
Yeah, so they're 2 games out of the 5 spot, and of course a game out of the 6 spot, and the last 10 they're 3-7. So out of it's funny because both the Lakers and the Celtics are the worst teams, because you have obviously the Jazz, the Sun, and the Jazz are also probably about 2 games away from closing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers have the number 3 seed. Nuggets have a chance to get the number 4, but Denver's done now. Mavericks in the 5, Trailblazers 6, Lakers, Warriors, Grizzlies, Spurs. Warriors coming on strong as of late. So they're going to wind up that they're not going to catch the Lakers. They're going to wind up in the 8th seed. So whoever is going to be, it's going to be the Warriors probably in the 8th seed or the 9th seed, depending. And actually playing against and then the Spurs. Yeah, the Pelicans are a game and a half out of a playoff spot. The Kings are 2.5 games out of a playoff spot. I don't think either one of them are strong enough to catch up. So I think it's going to be, well, although the Kings are playing really strong and are 7-3 out of their last 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess anything is possible. So we'll see.
Things look good, though. Things look good. Who would have predicted this?
Hey, I said that the Sixers were going to be number 2 going into the playoffs. So, they've exceeded those expectations. And I said that they would be in the finals against an LA team. Now, if the standings stay the way they are and they were to go this, it would be, and the Lakers hold serve. The Lakers would wind up beating the Suns out of the playoffs. That would make it a little bit easier for the Jazz. You'd have, are the Nuggets still strong enough to beat the Mavericks? I think so.
Yeah, I think so. They play good
So-
defense still.
So then you'd have the Jazz, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and the Lakers, and then the Lakers beating the Jazz. Can the Lakers beat the top 2 seeds in the Western Conference?
So for me personally, I'm not buying the Jazz. I always said that if you live by the 3, you die by the 3,
And they cry babies. They are crybabies over there.
Exactly. Yes. I don't know if that style can win you in the NBA. Like, it's fine. Like, you're a 50-win team and you're the top seed. You might make like a second round, but you might make it to the Western Conference Finals. But you need to play a little defense, and they don't play enough defense for me to just say like they'll be in the finals.
So
you gotta play defense. Like, people think because of the Warriors, because the Warriors were winning like with all the scoring, but people forget the Warriors all were a pretty efficient defensive team. Like, Steph even had a couple steals here and there. Clay's
they had Iguodala. Iguodala was
Draymond.
the defense. He won the MVP of the finals
Right?
because of defense. He was able
Shut
to
down
cover LeBron. You know what I mean? That's what it was. It's all it is about. So
if you want to make it
championships,
if you want to be a Final Four team, you got to play defense. You flat out have to play defense.
So, and like I said that it was going to be an all LA final, Western Conference final, and that if the Lakers win, we win the championship. If the Lakers lose and the Clippers win, I don't know that we're going to win the championship. That's my opinion. I think that if any other team makes it in LA, the Sixers win it. I think that Utah gets the asshole pucker. You know what I mean? That they start squeezing as they get closer and closer. I think that Phoenix doesn't do it either. And I think it's an LA thing. So
it's crazy. So I was listening today on sports radio. It would have been awesome being alive in the early '80s. Sixers making it to 4 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals, winning a finals, watching Dr. J, Moses later on.
I tell you, the thing that I'll never forget is watching that Boston game on a TV that was literally about the size of this. Literally that size, like 2 phones put together. That was the size, black and white. A black and white television at a restaurant in Swarthmore. And I was the kid, and I was I was low because everybody was above me. Like, all the adults were above me, and we're watching that game. And and the Sixers are pulling it off in the end, and you hear beat LA, beat LA, beat LA from a Celtics crowd. It was one of the most amazing things that I have ever witnessed in sports, to hear an opposing team crowd when you win them over. I mean, because the Celtics and Sixers had some knockdown dragouts. You know what I mean? It was, we had Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler, man. They hated him. But Larry Bird also could do it. They were good at,
he was a killer, man,
beating us all the time. So it was really something to kind of watch all that occur. I mean, but basketball was so different then. Like, I think of like the Milwaukee Bucks back then were really good. They had Sidney Moncrief, and like, it's just those guys. And then you think of Atlanta, who's got Dominique Wilkins and things like that. It's like those were great teams just all the way around. It's a shame. It's a shame basketball doesn't have that the way it does anymore. Now it's like you have to have like 3 or 4 guys that are really good to be able to play on a team. Yeah, it was like 1 or 2 guys could carry a
Yeah,
team.
man. It's pros and cons. I mean, obviously the game was a lot more physical back then. I mean, just like I love the mentality of the bad boys. Like, yeah, you might make the basket, but you're gonna pay for it, and I kind of
Exactly.
missed that. But
Exactly.
today, like these guys are like so much more athletic. This whole positionless basketball thing too. There's some intriguing parts about it, but yeah, part of me does want like imagine the Sixers team currently playing with that mentality. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that the bully ball. That was the bully ball that we were promised last year. Hey, listen, guys, we've gone our 2 hours. Again, it always seems like it goes by way too fast. But thank you for tuning in with us, and you can see us next week. Definitely show up with us on Wednesday for the NFC show when we talk about the NFL schedule. Listen, guys, thank you very much. You all have a great night, and let's go Sixers. Yeah.
Let's go.